G'day Darkrealmers, it's horror author and illustrator Michael J. Elliott here with you again today. In 2017 there were two movie adaptations of Stephen King's work. One was The Dark Tower and the other one was It. And fans and critics predicted, just like a gladiatorial combat, one would fall. Well, it turned out to be The Dark Tower. It wasn't terribly appreciated by fans and critics didn't think much of it. So, did that mean that It won by default and became a huge success? Well, I'll let you know because we're going to look at that right now. Yeah. Well, Darkrealmers, I was a huge fan of the book by Stephen King, and I also loved the miniseries when it came out years and years ago now. So I was really interested to see what the movie makers made with a whole new reboot of this, classic King work. And I'd heard a lot of good things about it, and when I finally saw it, I couldn't agree more with them. It was fantastic. Really scary. And what was nice about this movie was that the movie makers didn't try to recreate the same exact scares from the mini-series. Everything these children went through was all different and all unique, and it was great. Now there's going to be a lot of comparisons and it's inevitable. Tim Curry was brilliant as Pennywise, just absolutely chilling. And Bill Skarsgård, to give him his credit, he does a great job as Pennywise here too. Subtle, suitably creepy and popping up and with that wonderful clown smile when it's not appropriate, all those sort of things. Now, I have to say that the children actors in this movie do their job so well. But perhaps my favourite, and I think the best juvenile actress was the young actress who played Beverly, because her character was so strong, so traumatised. Now, there's one scene in the movie where her dad holds her hand and says, "You're still my little girl, aren't you, Bev?" And that just freaked me out, because we get in those few words the fact that Beverly's being sexually abused by her father. And it is the movie makers reinforce that when we see the next scene of Beverly going in and hacking her hair off in an attempt to not be as an attractive object to her father. So she's wonderful in this. She's also very strong in taking command, and where the other actors, other kids may be a little bit out of their depth with what's happening, she seems to almost, that sense of the fact that she's gone through so much and she's had to deal with this abuse at home by herself, shows that she's got the inner strength to deal with all this. Okay, now before I go on, Darkrealmers, I'll give you a taste of what you can expect in the movie by showing you the trailer. Here's up.
When you're a kid, you think the universe revolves around you. You think that you'll always be protected and cared for. Then, one day, you realize that's not true. Because when you're alone as a kid, the monsters see you as weaker. You don't even know they're getting closer. Till it's too late. Here, take it.
My grandfather thinks this town is cursed. That all the bad things that happen in this town are because of one thing. An evil thing.
come with me. You'll float too.
Georgie. I saw something.
The clown. Yeah, I saw him too. You'll float too.
What happens when another Georgie goes missing?
You'll float too.
Or one of us?
You'll float too.
Are you just gonna pretend it isn't happening like everyone else in this town?
You'll float too.
If we stick together, we'll win.
Well, if that didn't give you the heebie-jeebies, Darkrealmers, I'm not sure what will, because the trailer lives up to the movie perfectly. And what's great, as I mentioned before, about these child actors is that each of their roles, to me, Beverly was the strongest character, but that doesn't mean that the rest of them are weakened in any way. They all serve a really strong purpose. Like Ben Haskin, who's the overweight kid, he's the one that does all the research and realises that these events, children going missing, happens at certain intervals, and it's all tied in with places within the town. And Bill, whose brother Georgie was taken by it in the opening scenes, it's given him a sense of determination that no one else should go through what he has, because he's suffered regret and depression and everything since Georgie went missing, and he's actually tried to piece it all together. And there's a scene where he tries to show his dad what he's come up with, and his dad says, "Let it go, Georgie's gone." But of course he can't. And so they all come together and they all bring their, not so much expertise, but what they've pieced together as a group. And it's as a group they work so well together. Now, not only do they have to cope with it, but they've got the psychopathic town bully and his stooges, Richie, who isn't above slicing open Ben Haskin's stomach with his switchblade. And so you've got these poor kids being assailed on both fronts, and you've also got the fact that they don't just encounter it and then they go home and they go home to lovely homes and everything like that. Beverly still has to put up with the unwanted attentions of her father. Bill has to go home and be surrounded by that overwhelming depression and that sense of gloom that's surrounding his parents. And young Eddie, who's a little bit weak, takes inhalers and everything, has to go home to an overbearing mother. Now, the nice thing about the film, as I said, is that they all are frightened by it in each in a different way, and it's very, very unique. For example, there's a scene where Beverly's hair comes back out of the sink and starts strangling her, and the bathroom gets covered in blood, but only the kids can see it, no one else. It's truly terrifying, Darkrealmers. And you may be wondering, okay, well, the mini-series dealt with the two, I suppose outbreaks, you'd call it, of it, when they're children and when they're grown up. Well, Hollywood knows when it's onto a good thing, and it's purposely left the way open for a sequel. Now, it was very clever of them to do that, because they had no idea how well the movie would do at the box office, and it did brilliantly, by the way. So this was a way for them to have an escape clause if the movie did well, but they could also draw a line under it if it didn't, because we got to see it, and the kids at the end make the promise that if anything happens, we swear we'll come back and we'll deal with this thing, okay? And at the end of the titles, it very cleverly says, It, Chapter 1. Okay, so we're going to definitely get the second part, Darkrealmers, and it's going to be wonderful to see how they translate the children into their adult counterparts, and whether it's going to be quite as scary having adults deal with this, okay? Because it was frightening in the mini-series when the kids have all grown up and they've all made some form of life for themselves, okay? But it's going to be interesting to see how the filmmakers make a take on this. Now, I have to give points to all the actors, both adult and children in this movie, the script writers who've done a superb job of adapting, Stephen King's novel and keeping that fear there, okay? And also the director, who knows exactly when to pump us for scares. And luckily for us, Darkrealmers, this isn't one of those movies that relies on jump scares and false, shocks. Everything that happens at the right time. So this is a fantastic movie, Darkrealmers. I'm sure you're going to love it. You don't need to have read Stephen King's book. You don't need to have seen the miniseries to appreciate this movie in any way, shape or form. But if you have, you're going to be really, really thrilled with what they've done with this, okay, Darkrealmers. Now, it's available on streaming services and also DVD and Blu-ray. So if you've seen it, let me know what you thought of it. Did you see it as a standalone? Had you ever seen the miniseries before? Have you read the book? What did you think of the book? And did you think that the movie was a good adaptation like I did? Okay, Darkrealmers, well, that's it from me, horror writer Michael J. Elliott. Thank you so much for joining us. And, don't forget, leave a comment. I love reading your comments, and I love hearing what you have to say about, the diaries and our movie reviews. And just one final thought. If you're going to, go around looking at clowns, maybe in old houses and so forth, make sure you keep the lights on. Okay? Bye for now, Darkrealmers.